Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Right, what's going on, champs? Hope you guys doing well. Apologies for actually coming on a little bit later than usual. All right, let's get cracking though. So it's a Monday, right? It's a Monday. We've got weekly close coming up. We've got a number of things coming up in terms of the week itself. What we do know is that, especially like you guys have, if you guys follow me quite closely, you should remember coming on the first Friday of the new month, we have non-farm payroll, so NFP is coming out. Unemployment on Friday as well. That's the key thing that I already know straight off the bat before actually looking at the forest factory. I'm going to do that in just a moment and we'll go through it together. Um, so saying that in place, right? You know, we got the last month, right? The last quarter. This is where we get a bit of fuckery going to happen. It can be a little bit difficult to trade, but it's not so much. What I would say personally is actually just focus on the weekly itself and just do short-term day trades as well, right? So once the monthly the first week of the month is actually done by Monday, gets things a little bit more clear. So let's just run this down and let's see what we got, right? So what I'm going to do, bring up dollar index. Dollar index, what we got here. I mean, nothing's really changed from like 2 weeks ago. This is a range band environment from the 13th of the Monday, the 13th to last week's high, 2 weeks ago's high, 2 weeks ago's low. What we had a deviation on the upside, come back as a retest, come back to the mid range, 25%, hit the mid range there, deviation in the mid range, and we're coming back down for that liquidity there. What happens next, we don't really know entirely. What we need to do is being a bit more cautious. Does price come back down and find resistance and break down? And that's the because this is consolidation. Do we have the expansion, the breakout on the downside, or do we just come out, take out this low over here, and then hold back into the range itself? And if it does do that, then what will happen is we'll be targeting mid-range. Mid-range, we can look to range high. This is still a range band environment. So what we're looking at is, fuck happened there? Oh, sorry. So what we're looking at is do we actually go any if we're range bounding here and dollar index start pushing up, the crypto and the stock markets will start pushing down as well. So that's a natural thing. Crypto did open up quite badly. I was watching that quite carefully yesterday. I took a short on BNB. Quite happy that I actually took the short a little bit later. I'll talk about that in a second there. And I've got plans for it to break out as well on the downside if you were to be bearish there. But we'll work this level to level how I'm going to take this trade as it is. Mm. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this. I just need to pick this up. I do apologize for that. Hello? Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Apologies for that. Yeah, no, no, yeah, it was a girl's voice. Check your window. Now, so I got a car broken down. Just a big thing, a backstory on this is an X5. X5 broke down the rear differential. Now the rear differential is the thing that connects the back end to the transmission and whatnot. And but the rear and the front differential that got fucked over. Now to buy a second, to buy a part of that, it's really it costs nearly the price of the car. And then you think to yourself, is it really worth it, kind of thing and whatnot. So I'm just so I got in touch with BMW, and I just need to get that ordered in. That's all it is. So that's been ordered. So I should be getting it to tomorrow. and at least that can get sent over to the mechanics. That's what it was. Anyway, let's get thingy. Let's go. Where's the dressing gown? Oh, bro, you know the dressing gown. It's I've got the hoodie on today. Let's get the shout in the morning, and then we get cracking as well. Steve Tien, what's going on, brother? John Caboose, Madcap Pat. We got Goon in the house. Justin's in the house. Fan of Country Club's here. Joe Crate, TCX, GP. What are you guys saying? My Ning's in the house too as well. You got Gar, Suleiman, 30, Marcus, Minkus, Maxi, Reefsum, Adam, Gandalf Gray's in the house. Well, partially daily. Check my window. My window's fine. Hopefully there's no one out there. And we got Gus 23 RV. So let's play back into thingy to dollar index, right? Let's just get cracking on this because we've got a big week, right, coming ahead. So I was saying that like we're coming down for last week's 2 weeks ago's liquidity on the downside at the bottom. So do we take out there, play back up to the mid-range, go to range high? If we come to the mid-range into this area consolidation and we start finding resistance, starts breaking down, then it's going to come back down to range low. Then we look for a potential breakdown on the downside, or if it comes back up, see a potential breakup on the upside. There's a tiny bit of inefficiency over here. I like to see this being retested. What is that? That's the what you call it? The weekly range low itself. At the same time, right, if I go on to 15 minutes, let's see what I got. Do I have like an area? We don't have an area of consolidation. Because what I'm thinking of is, let's have a look. Let's just have a look at this PA over here. So you can see price faintly at the at this low over here. Right, this is where price is as well. So we really do have, in a way, is this is the last down candle that send the market back up, right? Back up to like towards the near the range high. So what could happen is this. Let me just highlight that. 5 minutes. Bring this across. What could happen is something like this, right? That low could hold in place, right? Making a thingy. And if we get a break in market structure on the upside, taking out these highs over here, get back up, reclaim this area there. We can play back to the 25%, and then we can see these areas getting filled out. See, when we open up, we had a gap. Now price traded above, got into the mid-range. During Asia, it held on the mid-range. Just after Asia, run these highs over there, and then we just dropped. Fill out all this in this gap over here. Well, it was partially filled over here. Then we have a little bit there, filled it all out, and now we drop down. Got a thin movement here. Do we fill this out and break down? We don't know. We just got to play this level to level. It is the first day of the week. We want to play this like quite cautiously. So what you could use is tomorrow is the Monday's range itself, and give you that as an outlook itself. So if it was to be bullish, we see price going up. If it was to be bearish, we see a breakdown going on the downside. Reading that on ES, what's ES saying, right? ES is interesting now. ES has done the similar thing in terms of what dollar index has done. That's on the 5 minutes. That's on the 15. In terms of actually open up, right? You opened over here. Let's see where the price opened up, and we have a gap. So this range over here, this purple line here, that's the 75% of September's range. What we can see is that we've done a deviation and a deviation here. We've stepped back into this Monday's range over here. This is the Monday's range 2 weeks ago. That's the high, and that's the low, and that's the range bound environment. Majority of the price of the last 2 weeks really has been within this range itself. You can argue about it or whatever you want. All we can see is this bit of deviation on the upside, deviation down here, deviation, support, and all that's deviation. The price is getting capped over here. If we are going to be bearish, right, what we want to see is literally price coming back down into these areas here, break down this low over here, find resistance off this area here, and then we can shoot it back down, filling out the inefficiency over here, take out the liquidity over on the downside, coming back into the mid-range. And that's all we're going to be focused on. Well, at the moment, we are within this range. That's on the breakout on the downside. If it were to be breakout on the upside, how do we do this? Let it do its thing. Once we reclaim these highs there, you see this particular high here, it's kind of capping the market in its own way. Once we get back up, hold above it, then we can say saying, yeah, let's go for September's high. Once we go for September's high, we'll see what the next deal is, either tomorrow, the day after, whenever it happens. Nothing to worry about. But in the meantime, what we can actually say already, this is a range bound environment. We are capped within the range again. We've come back into it, step back into it, we've pushed a bit higher, and then all we've done, we've come back down. We come back to the 75%. If we come back up and dollar index and start establishing support at the same time, and starts coming into here, breaks down, take the short onto ES, 25% coming to the mid range. We see how the mid range holds. If it breaks down, play it back down to 75 into this range low. That's what we're looking for, and then we'll see what happens next, right? Do we come back down here and then wick into it and then range bound it for the rest of the week? We don't know. We just play level to level. It is the freaking first day of the freaking week itself. We have monthly close coming up. We have a lot of, actually, you know what? Let's quickly open up Fox Factory. We've got a lot of things coming up this week as well. Let's just run it through. Nothing going on Monday for the USD. FOMC member Bullard speaking today, 5 o'clock. GDP for Canadians. So USD got CB consumer confidence. That's happening at 3 o'clock tomorrow. On Wednesday, what do we have? We got preliminary GDPs coming. ADP non-farm payroll coming up as well on Wednesday. We got the Fed Chair Powell speech on 6:30. Question is it going to be a Fed pivot? I don't think a Fed pivot is good for the market. I think it's bound to happen. I still believe it'll be bearish. We're gonna rally. In my opinion, it'll be a rally towards the what you call it. We do a rally with the anticipation of a Fed pivot. And once the Fed pivot comes in, it's happened numerous times, 7, 8, 9 times, where it's actually been quite bearish. So I do think the same thing's gonna happen, and that's at the end of the month on Wednesday. Thursday, what's going on? We've got core price index on Thursday at 1:30. It's nearly every day we've got something going on. And then we've got ISM. Friday is going to be a bit heavy. We got the unemployment rate and non-farm employment change as well. That's going to come on Friday. After then we'll see what the deal is. So we'll see how it works. In the meantime, it's more short-term day trades kind of trade itself. Let me touch on Euro USD actually. Let's see what Euro USD is doing before I just carry on. We've got a spike up. And you see here, right, we've got a spike up into this red line here. What's that red line is? I'll show you on the daily. That's the range low of a week of a range itself. This motherfucking range from back in 2014. That's the range low. That's the range high. And you see majority of the price has been capped in here. Deviation on the upside. Deviation on the upside. Is this another deviation? We don't know. We don't know. Or is it a breakout? We have to see how it goes. If it is a deviation, what we want to see is price getting back into it. Step back in. Hold into it. Play to 25 and then mid-range, and that should send the dollar index downwards as euro goes up. So that's what one way we're looking at it as well. We've got a breaking market structure already that's already happened from a while ago. The breaking market structure was this here. Once we broke out this high there, what happened was this low holds and it goes all the way up and it's pushing up into this. So now the question is this a deviation or a retest? We've got to work this out as it comes. If it is going to be a retest, I mean, if you look at it this way on the daily, quite hard to say at the moment. But if I look on the 1 hour, just from a short-term trade, right, as a day trade itself, what you can look at if anyone's interested in trading in the forex is that we've got this high here, right? So we've done the stop run, right? Now the question is, if we close here in the next 6 minutes below and we start breaking down, we do something like this, we break down, something like that, then I'll be looking to short this back into target 1 and looking to fill out all this inefficiency, all this over here back into target 2, and then we can see if we come back into these liquidity over here. This will be the next tertiary targets there, playing it level to level and see how it goes. Let me just have a look. Oh, the draw line, how does it look like? Yeah, I mean we could well just come back down, right, find support off here, takes out the lows there, find support, and then still climb back up, and then you can play it back up on the upside. But then on the if we were to break down, like this, then I look to take the short to come back into this consolidation over here, into these areas there, and that'll be the next target there. If we lose this, then it's downside quite badly. So I mean, like the flip side in terms of longs, you'll be timing it with dollar index is something like this. So we know we got this over here. Price comes back into it, let it do its thing. The moment we come back at full support, take the long, take it back up to $1.077136. That's the area that we'll be looking for. So we gotta work this out level to level. Going to Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin dominance, right? Let me just touch on that, right? What we've done, right, on the 4 hours, is we're coming into the range low area here. So what's important about this particular area here? I think there's signs of bullishness, because if we were to come back into here, into these lows there, and starts breaking down, we can continue to take out the lows on the downside. Let me just remove this and show it to you right here. You see this area here? Come into this area here, take out the lows there, bounce into here. Once we step back into it, it's further downsides over here to take out this liquidity over here, right? On Bitcoin dominance. And if Bitcoin dominance drop down, Well, that means if it, like the price of Bitcoin is going to go up, and we look at Ethereum dominance in just a second. But the fact is, right, we've actually found support, and the question is, where did it find support? If you look at this particular area here, that's where it's found support. So when we come into it, right, step into it, bit of a deviation, step down, and we've broken up. Broken market structure on the up on this. This is the high there. Any retest and hold into it. That what I'm looking for is a push back up into these areas there, and maybe into this liquidity there. That's what we're looking for. And once we step into this range, this is a 4-hour range low, 4-hour range high, not a range, but it's an SR point of view. Then we play mid-range, look to play to 75%, and then range high. And if this happens, then Bitcoin's going to go down, in my opinion. It's going to be a bit of a tricky one. Generally, dollar index is always dollar index. Bitcoin in December tend to be quite good, but it's looking kind of like a shit bag, if you ask me. It's not looking too well for it to think in terms of actually playing longs or shorts. Ethereum dominance again, it's just dropping down. I mean, you can actually draw this. Let me just do this over here. Draw a trend line here. You can see how the trend line is acting as resistance each time. Each time we come into it, resistance. All this is resistance. Grinding back down. Once we lose this low here, come back down, come into this area here, and then we'll see what happens. Do we hold above it, come back up? Otherwise, we go back down. The key point is that price is coming back into this consolidation. This is the low, and I'd say this is the high, right? And that's the high. That's where price is coming back into. Now, I'm expecting price of like Ethereum dominance to come back down, and if Ethereum dominance come back down, I do suspect the price of Ethereum will drop down as well. What happens next? Do we hold above it, break out of it, take out a clean breakout here, hold above it, and then we can start taking out all these highs over here, working our way up higher. But otherwise, if we were to come back into this range bound environment from this area, then we play back to mid back to range low. This area here in red, that's the macro mid range. Let me show it to you on the daily. It's the macro mid range, and it's going to be choppy in the mid range as well. People struggle around the price action during the mid range, but you can see how price is really truly capped within these highs, this high here and this low, for for over a year, really, over a year itself. This is from May. We're now in 2021, and all we've done is a deviation on the upside, deviation on the downside, deviation, and we're still capped into it. We're finding support the mid range, but I do think price comes back into the mid range itself. From there, we'll see what happens. Do we come back down? Once we lose this low, come back into this area. If we find resistance, take out this liquidity, come back into this 25%, back into the original base of consolidation, which happened back in 2019 to 2021. So, well, let's go, for about 2 years. Yeah, definitely. This is an area of consolidation. From there, we'll see what happens. And then, do we consolidate here for a little while during the rest of the bear market before we push up, or do we step back in and just play out a little in these areas there? But we have to work this out as it comes. That's Ethereum dominance there. Now, let's just talk about Bitcoin now. What's going on, Hugh? How you doing? Zennek, you good? Good to have you here. The Fed pivot will be bearish short, long term, or long. I think short term or long term. I believe it's going to be quite long term, because if you look at before we carry on Bitcoin, if you look at ES, right? So let's just use a couple of examples. The first example we use is 2007, right? 2007, where was it? That's where is 2007? There we go. So they called it the Great Depression in December the 8th, I believe, or the 7th, I was saying. And you can see, where was it? It was 2000 December. So yeah, so around here. So this area here is where the Great Depression happened. This is when they had the pivot. This is when the recession started. Recession started here, and you can see how price is capped at this high. We do a deviation, we come back down, lower lows, lower highs. This low holds, we bounce back up, right? And it's really like a range band environment. So if I were to show it to you, right? Let's do this. So let's just do from this high here. Oops. Let's do from this high here to this low here, right? No, let's do this low here. So range band environment. Let me delete that. We don't need this. And as you can see, price, right, comes into the mid-range, and we do a deviation of the mid-range, and here is where we have the recession kicks in, right over here. Come back down, and we push back up, back into back into this low here, right? And then we do a bit of a deviation of this low, come back down, find resistance, sells off. And from December 2007, that drop happened, and we kept on dropping for fucking a long fucking time. You see from into yeah, March 2009. So you're talking about 18 months worth of down market as well. A lot of shorts to be happening before we actually have, before we actually come back into this low here. For that, before we come back into this low to find support. So then this became the deviation. Once we took out this high, breaking market structure, push on the upside. You see market structure that it's high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we break out these highs over here. This high, do we break these highs over there? Yeah, we do. Take out the highs over here on the macro, and once we get above it and hold support over here, off we go, and we start rallying it from 2009 all the way on to, well, the bear market. You can see it's an uptrend all the way through. It's a massive uptrend until 2020 when we have the freaking dump in the March COVID there. Recovered, pushed up higher, and then we have one more dump. That was it here. The 2020 dump over here that happened there. That was the March, the COVID. Took out the stops to the downside over here, and then we rallied all the way up here, and we're just here. So in terms of how long can it be, I do think it's going to be long term. Would it be 6 months? I don't think so. I think it could be a little bit longer. I think maybe it can go on for about a year and a half. Very, very possible as well. We've seen it happen many times. Just using another example profile. Give me a second, guys. There was a tweet that I posted. I just want to use the 2000.com bubble. How long did it go for? Actually, that's a good point. It's gone the weekly. Otherwise, we can do this for too long. The 2000.com happened here. The Fed pivot occurred around. Let's have a look around here. So basically, we made the high, the first high, got the lower high. The lower high is when the pivot happened. And how long did it go for? Let's have a look. So that's the lower high. So it's from here, from September to about 2000. That's when the Fed pivot happened, and we went all the way. We made a bottom all the way to up in, let's say 2002. October 2002. So we made what? That's 2 years. 2 years of down move as well. It's a 2-year bear market that happened here. So again, it's the same situation. Two years, 18 months is another thing. What was the next one? Do one more. The next one is 1981. 1981, we made the, let's have a look. Where the high was, that's when the Fed pivot happened. Let's have a look. What year was it? 1981, yeah? S&P. SPX. Let's try and bring this up. 1981. 1981 happened here. Let's delete that. So from the high itself, from here, that happened in December and 1980, 81. It was just actually probably was January then. So it was here, around here, that lower high there. From January 1981 all the way to the low, that was August 82. So again, it's about nearly 17 months. So it generally does last for about 18 months, 2 years around that time. So will it happen for going back to, will it happen for 6 months? I don't think so. Highly doubt so. We need a massive crash. Like it's due for a crash, because each time we have a crash, we have a full reset. So the .com 2000 high, and then we make the low over here. I think in 2002, that's when it crashed. We had a massive pullback in there, about 50%. Then we pushed back up, and then 2007 is when the recession happened again. Bang, another crash over here. Take out the 2020 stops. I mean, looking at this, what can happen? I mean, do we even come? Look, I do not want to talk about it. Like if this happens, right, this is fucking scary. I mean, at the very minimum, if it's like a 50% crash, where's the 50% crash comes into? Let's have a look. From there to here, 40% is about, fucking hell, around here, $2,400, which comes at the base of this low here, around here. That's 40% a crash. A 50% crash is from here to, yeah, about here. So you can't, fucking hell, this is horrible. So from here to there, into these lows there. So basically the 40% crash, I know where it is now. The 40% crash comes into these areas here. That's the 40% crash, which looks horrible, right? and then the 50% crash comes in around here. No, that's not all. It's this, I think it's this one here. Somewhat, no. I think, yeah, it's here. The 50% crash comes in around here. Let me double check that for you quickly before I actually just say that's a fact. From here to there, 48, yeah, around there, let's do. And then what you can see, right, if you were to crash, right, let's just say it starts breaking down, so it's bearish play. I mean, you can see, yeah, we target ones here, and then we're coming back down. That's a range high, this is a range low. It makes sense, breaks down, play back down to mid-range back to range low, and then it can come back into here as a deviation, step back in. That's a very possibility. And what this low is, it comes in bound with this from that low. It's just a retest of this area here. That's a very possible way where it just crashes out here, a quick wick into here, hold support, back into these lows, then into this range bound environment. Then we play back into the mid range and come back up higher. Then we see what happens. That's ooh, yikes. That's horrible. Really, really horrible. But I've got to be honest with you guys. So that's what I really do think can happen. Because if you look at the 2020 when we had apparently it was a Fed pivot. I don't remember it being a Fed pivot from the high to down here. It was a 35% crash, right? And that was very quick. It was quickly recovered. Everyone actually, you know, didn't really feel it during COVID. You know, everyone was like, a lot of people was off. 35% crash still comes down to here. Even then, it still comes down to here, which is the base is right here. You know, so saying that with a Fed pivot in place, you gotta be prepared as well. So what I would say for me, and you never late Biggie, I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah, so saying that, you're looking at like, look, we can get a rally. I do think, you know, a rally can come into place. It would make sense to actually let's have a look, to push up to the mid range. From the mid range, they say, yeah, we're gonna Fed pivot, we're gonna do a pivot, and then we have the crash and whatnot. So that's a possibility. But in terms of day trades, we're looking at it level to level. Anyway, Bitcoin started off with a fucking crash, man. Decided to just drop on itself for some reason. What we're focusing on is this particular area here. We've got two things. Number one, we got 2 weeks ago last week's low, 2 weeks ago's low, and 2 weeks ago's high, and the price has been consolidating within this range bound environment. All we've done really is a deviation over here, and that was last week's Monday's range, right? And then we stepped back up, broke above the Monday's range, and then it just so happened, right, when we did the open over here, we spiked up, fast nuke down, and we come back into the Monday's range. So now looking at this is, how do we plan this for a short or a long? Okay, would I take a long here? No, not necessarily, right? Why? Well, we are in last week's Monday's range. Where would I look for longs, right, is once we get back up, right, hold above it, shows bullish market structure, target 1 at the mid range. Once we reclaim and hold above these areas there, I can then carry on to target 2 and then target 3. What's so important over here? Well, if you look at it this way, we've taken out the liquidity from the downside over here of 2 weeks ago's range low over here, but there's still liquidity resting over here. So do we spike up and show bullishness? I don't know. Or do we spike up and then break down, show bearishness, and then play within the range to the mid range, back to the range low? That's the way I'm looking at it as one example. Now looking at it as a day trade, right, in 15 minutes, right, we've kind of dropped quite heavily there. 6 o'clock, 6:15 is when we dropped over here. Okay, that's fine. So we've got a bit of a range bound environment coming up there. So what I like to see is, like, if I want to look, so I'll show you the longs is when we get back up, hold above it, reclaim bullish market structure, go up there to the mid range. That's a very quick, easy trade to go to the mid range, take some profits over there, see how it goes. If we start holding above it, carry on. We can actually enter back in and start breaking down, and then, you know, look to cut the trade and, you know, and exit the trade and play it back down to Monday's high, last week's Monday's high. We all got Monday's range there itself. I mean, the range high, but Monday's high comes in around, where's Monday's high? It's right here. Monday's high is here. So if I were to do a Fibonacci, right, from Monday's high and approximately where is Monday's low right now, you can see quite clearly already. Let me just change the color. You can see is that the mid range has been reacted. See how that? That's the high and that's the low. That's telling me, right, already, right off the bat, that this is have a higher probability that that's what Monday's range is. So using this range here, I like to see price come into here, right? If price starts to dumping back down below the mid range of 16.262, I can play it back down to 25% range, 25% range, and coming back down to these lows over here. This is a potential trade down here. At the same time, making it keeping in mind that we've got last week's Monday's high. We're finding resistance over here, which means that once we break down over here, this is your next secondary targets there, the mid range. From the mid-range, we'll see what happens, and this is the range low. Do we come back into these areas? So do we come back down, hold into it, reclaim, take the fucking long, 25% of range. Let's go up to I think into the mid-range, and we'll see what happens. Marking out Monday's high, last week's Monday high, and seeing how we react. If we come back into this area, starts breaking down, I'll cut the trade, right? So that's the potential play that we've got here. Could be tomorrow, actually, you know, that if we drop down. Now, the longs really is if we come back up, hold above it. That's the way I play it. Target 1, looking into target 2, and then target 3 here. And then this is the mid-range. I'll cut the trade, to be honest. I'm happy to cut the trade and see what happens. If we hold above it, play the longs up there. That's pretty much it for Bitcoin. There's nothing more to say. I mean, if I were to drop down on the weekly, right, you can see. Let me delete that. You can see we've got small body candles, long wicks on both sides there, but we are still capped within this range there. I mean, the fact that, you know, we're taking out liquidity here, we got this high here to take out. Once we take out this high here, this increases our probability for a quick scalp to play back into range high. So if for those who want to have a higher probability, let's see how we play out there. Because what we could do is this, come back into here, break down, play back to the mid range, and then we come back down to take out liquidity over here. Because then we can say we are stuck within this range over here. Although on a bigger scale, this is the range bound what I want to see, because liquidity has been taken out. There's still liquidity up here. But if it was to show bearishness, right, we wouldn't even take out the highs there. We come back down, shows a lower high, right, from there, play back down, level to level. That's it with BTC. Ethereum. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Went long on BNB. Yeah, BNB has been a bit of a bitch, actually. Hasn't been too easy to play with. I'll discuss BNB in a second as well. So, looking at Ethereum, right, we are still within July's range. Nothing's really changed. Like with BTC, we've taken out July's range and we're trading below it. But with Ethereum, we are still within the range. So it shows us a bit of strength, but it's kind of tricking us at the strength. We just established Ethereum dominance is actually dropping down quite heavily, right? And Bitcoin dominance is actually looking to pick up. So what's going to happen? What's the key thing is that at the moment on the weekly, you can see that with like that October's low has caused us a lot of problems here. We close above October's low, we smash back down. We have a deviation above October's low, and we're coming back down. It's not, to me, I'm gonna lean more bearish, right? Do you remember when I said to you guys like the smiley face? Can you draw a smiley face? So for example, you've got a key level, right? Let's say that's a support, right? Resistance, and then we have a break above. What I like to see is a nice clean break above Y, so you can actually put a smiley face there. If I can put the full face in there, then I'm like, yeah, and we retest and hold above it, I can take the longs go back up. But if we have something like this, right, it's like a turd in it. So this is the eyes, here's the nose, and the mouth is just freaking underneath. I can't draw the whole face quite clearly. So this is like, then it becomes more, there's more probability that this is a deviation. So what will happen is if we get price to do this, breaks down, shows bearishness, then I'm like happy to take the shorts to go back down lower. And that's what's looking like right now. So I can't really draw a face no matter how much I stretch this, and which means that there's a bit more liquidity on the downside. Now Ethereum, or with Bitcoin we talked about, it's in Monday's range. Ethereum's above Monday's range. So is Ethereum really truly bullish? Like stupidly bullish, more bullish than Bitcoin? That's the big question that we need to ask ourselves. Ethereum has dropped down at the moment. It's 1.94%, right, from the daily, and Bitcoin's dropped down 1.26%. So if it's dropped down more percentage, right, by 0.5% extra, I'm not fooled by the idea that Ethereum is bullish, right? If BTC may look good, right? Let me show you. On the 4 hours, it may look semi-decent, but I don't think that's really decent, really. I mean, we're hugging this line here. See this little area here? That's where we're hugging. We're getting back up. We're getting back below, up, below, up, below. Fucking send in one direction and tell us what the fuck it is. What, you know, where we're going. So if price comes back down, breaks down, this will increase my probability to play back down to the mid range. See, this is the mid range of the macro. We've covered this a lot of times. This is deviation and support. So that's what we're looking for. If it was to be bullish, right? Oops. If it was to be bullish, price come back down, hold above it. Let's play back up to these areas there, and come back into this area, and then into the 75% of the range as a short-term trade, and see what happens next, right? Because really and truly, I mean, if I were to draw this trend line here, I mean, we have a bit of a deviation over here. Resistance, deviation, we're getting back below it. how many deviation we need to do before we need to start to nuke this down hard. I mean, I'm down for a fucking nuke in it, but like it's just taking a piss though, in my opinion. It really is just teasing the shit out of us. So gonna play this quite carefully. So Ethereum, how do we do this? I'm still in that short. I'm still in this short here. I haven't changed. I haven't cut the trade itself. I'm just gonna let it be and show me what happens. We're at the mid range. What's so key about this? Well, this is a range bound environment, number one. So let me just draw this out. So that's the high, that's the low. Range bound environment. We break back up, we come back down there, consolidate above the range high, pushes back up, and then we come back down. We're playing in this range now. So looking at this, right, 1162, which is the mid range, is the key point. If we get back below 1162, let me delete this. I don't need this. If we get back below 1162, what I like to see is price do this, break down, then come back down to 25% of range, and then let's take out all this liquidity over here, right? There's liquidity at the resting at the bottom, and then we take out 1044. That's what I really think. I really think 1044 still on track. But where would I be wrong for longs is if we start finding support, reclaim this high there, then I like to play back into these areas here and then back into 25% range, reclaim that, then we can go back to range high. That's when I'll be looking for it, and then around here is when I'll be looking to actually cut the whole swing play. At the moment, the swing play is still in play. I'm not too what do you call it? Let me just hide this. I'm not too stressed. See this high here? All we've done, you can clearly see, we do a stop run and then sells off. So do we come back up, find resistance and then break down? That's one thing. Or do we come back up and hold above it and pushes up? That's the tricky thing. So that's the more of a bigger scale thing. Now looking at Ethereum, and let's go on the smaller time frame. What do we have here? That's Monday's high. That's Monday's high, and that's Monday's low. Okay, cool. Go on the 1 hour. You see this particular candle here, right? So that's 25% of July's range. Let's just see this out. How are we gonna do this, right? Like, look, if I were to do a trend line, the trend line's a bit funky now. This is the trend line. It's a very funky ass trend line in it. Like, I can try and fit it in, but if I'm moving my trend line, eventually what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep moving it before it comes like this. It's like a freaking lighthouse, like, you know, that one them crazy guys in the club with the fucking the glow sticks and just spinning it around and shit. That's what it looks like to me, actually. So we don't want to do that. We want to keep this like horizontally and see how the level plays. So what I'm looking at, right, is this area here. This up candle here is what I call the last up candle send the market back down, right? So we came back down, and then we had the last down market that send the market back up. So when we come back up, right, we come up, find resistance, sells off. Comes back up, finds resistance, sells off, and it grinds below. It runs the highs there. Then what we do, we have a clean smash above. We come back, find support, and it shows the push up there. I played the trade itself right from around here, from off this block here, which I discussed on Friday. On Friday, I was saying that if we hold above it, then I look to trade, take out these lows, these highs there, and it was the weekly mid range. So that's where my TP was. I hit my TP and I just left it as well. There was nothing else to look at during the weekend because we had a little bit of sideways actions on Saturday and Sunday. It just happened on Monday, had to drop itself. We're not so used to that though, right? You have to admit, we're not so used to it. Why? Because do you remember, like on the Sundays, everyone is so fixated to the idea that we're gonna have a massive pump, but all of a sudden, we're talking about Asia opens, the new daily opens in Europe, and then we have a dump. Kind of a bit of a tricky. It's a bit different than what we're usually used to as well. So that's where it gets a little bit more tricky for most people there. Justin Waters, what's going on, man? Silver looking amazing. Thank you, man. Appreciate that, man. Good morning to you too, my brother. Justin, thank you for that, man. Smash the likes, everybody. Appreciate that. The Guardian Aurora Polaris, what's going on? Morning to you too as well. One biggie morning to you. We got Skin Face in the house, man. Good to have you here, man. Let's hope for BTC decoupling. Interesting, Dixie dumping quite a bit, and yet we have a little relief in BTC this morning. Like I said to you, I don't believe that at this very moment in time that Bitcoin and Ethereum is running alongside what dollar index is doing. It's having its own mind frame at the moment. The reason why is the market dumped heavy, right? Heavy, because of a beef between SBF and Sam. Sorry, SBF and CZ. Not a beef, but it's just like some news that came out and FTX fucking collapsing it. FTX is fucked. Like, they're completely gone for now. That's one massive factor, because when Luna was dumping, but everything else was still in place. Everything else was still intact. They're still playing. Yeah, it did pull back, right? Market did pull back, but not heavily. Not like this. This is completely out of the ordinary. So we're not used to this kind of this PA. So in my opinion, I'm trying to work out the levels and try and work out the trades as per BTC and as per Ethereum individually compared to dollar index. I'm watching what the dollar index is doing, because when dollar index is pushing down, right, I'm expecting ES to push up. But the push in BTC is heavy. It's been heavy for like the whole year, like ridiculously heavy, and I don't think it's changed at all. We're coming to the end of the year, nothing looks any different as well. So how far how far of a push up do we go up in the market? We don't really know, but I do think that when we do have the Fed pivot come into place and ES starts shitting its bed, Bitcoin's gonna shit the bed too. But majority of the drop has already been done. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the drop has been done. So I mean, like, we're talking about 50% drop in Bitcoin. Look, I don't know if we're gonna go to 12k. I don't know, right? If it does go to 12k, happy days. If it doesn't go into 12k, we don't know. But from the drop from 12 from here to 12k, right? How much is it? Let's have a look. Let's go get a ruler from where we are right now to 12k. It's a 25% drop compared to a 50% drop on ES. I'll take the 25%. I'd rather take this, because if you think about it, we went through the bear market for a very, very long fucking time, a whole year, and it's just been downward play upon downwards play upon downwards play. It's been, there's no relief, there's no breathing space, there's nothing good has come out, and it's been difficult for a lot of people, and I understand. Now, when the stock market start dropping, there's a couple of millions. I don't think there's billions I don't think there's a billion people in crypto, but I do think there's a couple of millions, right? And within this couple of millions that are playing BTC, we've struggled and we've seen this drop, and we've had this headache and that stress for such a long fucking time. Now with ES, right, when the S&P and the Dow start dropping, the world's gonna fucking freak out, and we're gonna be quite calm because we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen to us. So I mean, it's gonna affect us in our everyday life, 100%. I do believe that, but we shouldn't be too worried. You know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. I am looking to actually start shorting the stock markets there. Before I even carry on, actually, right? I want to touch base on the Dow, actually, US 30. Let me show you something. Do you remember we did this, right? Someone asked, I can't remember who it was, right? Someone asked about the US Dow, and this is the area here, and I'm saying that that'll be target one. Like, it was a couple of days ago, right? That'll be target one. So it was for shorts in it. So if we come back down any deviation, once we get back down below here, that can increase our probability with a hard stop above here. I mean, invalidation will have to be here, right? That's the invalidation to play it back into the mid-range. We may bounce into it. Once we lose the mid-range, that's it. Game over, 25% range low. That's it. It's fucking over now. You can't actually argue with me. At the same time, if I were to do this, right, let me just show this on the 1 hour chart. Right, this is going to look kind of freaky here, right? Is it here? Yeah, no. There was a way I did this early on, like that. Look at this. You've got to admit, this is looking fucking scary though, on the US Dow, which means that if we start breaking down, start losing this area here, retest, breaks down, that's one opportunity to start entering in. Once we come back into here, do we get back up, maybe come into here, and then this is your absolute confirmation. Bearish market structure to play it back down to 25% of the range, and then see how we react, play it back down to range low. That's the Dow. Let me just do a snippet of this. The Dow looks fucking horrible, if you ask me. It's not the same as ES. I actually want to touch base on ES as well. Let me save that. One second. Delete this. Cool. The Dow looks kind of bad if you look at the Dow. The Dow is above the mid-range, right? And that is 2021's mid-range. And I want to touch base on what ES is doing as well. And we've come up to a major key area of resistance. So that looks cool. It doesn't look fucking good. Let's do US 100. US 100 looks even weaker. We're below the 2021's mid range, and we find resistance of September's mid range. Let me have a look at US 30. September's range. Oh, we've taken that September's range. That's September's August. That's September's high, and this will be September's low. Yeah, this is September's low. So we've taken it out completely. A really, really strong push in the market there. Once we come back into this area here, that's your confirmation that this was a deviation of September's range play back into the mid-range back into 2021's low, and then we'll see we take out liquidity over here. So the market does look fucking shit. Do we get a Fed pivot in January, in December? I don't know. If it is, I'm ready to short. Me personally, I'm actually going to be very, very honest about this. I'm down to short the market, and same with Bitcoin and everything else as well. I think it's just time to fucking make some peaks of the downside a bit more, squeeze it a bit down. If it's going to push up, let it push up, but I don't think it's going to push up that much as well. Very key area that we're looking at. So we'll see how it goes, how it runs out over the next couple of days, and well, coming to the monthly open there. But yeah, I mean Ethereum. What I was saying, I said Ethereum. Did I make up the plans now? So we're pushing back down, right? And look where we come into to the mid range. We've just kissed into the mid range there, not too long ago. And so yeah, like I said, we get back below. If it breaks above here, happy days. Let's look for the longs, which we discussed. In terms of the day trades, which I interrupted myself. Yeah, that was it. So this is the range band environment over here. Come back there, resistance. We get back up, and I played along from around here, going into the weekly, taking out these highs. Actually, that's the aim. The aim was taking out this high. Took out the high there. Let the sideways action happen. Now, for it to be bullish, I would wanted this to hold. This is at October's low. I would have preferred it to hold over here, reclaim, and then I can say, yeah, we've got bullish market structure. Let's go for the 2 weeks highs, which will be the highs over here. See these highs over there? This is like 2 weeks ago, Monday's high. And what I would have wanted is price to actually come back down over here during Asia, hold above it, shows bullish market structure, play it back up, and then we can target these highs there. Double top on the Coinbase one, but on other ones like Binance, it's not a double top, so lower high. But that's where the liquidity is resting over here, in my opinion. That's what I would have wanted. But the fact is, now we've actually smashed below this block over here, and we're finding resistance. That's not good. So if I want to take a little quick trade here and there, how would I do so? Let me just show you. Come on. There we go. Delete this. All right, let's go on the 15 minutes. All right, so we are coming to New York. So New York is coming up. It's 11:15 here. So I've got this particular area here. So this particular area here. This is where price is consolidating here. We're finding resistance over here. Deviation, come into the deviation, come back down, resistance. So if I want to take it like an aggressive trade, I put a stop loss here. I mean, I probably put an invalidation over here itself, just in case we spike up and hold above it. Then it gives me time to cut the trade. But aggressive will be here. I say that's I'm quite happy to actually play there. We've got a trend line here. Once we lose this trend line here, break down, lose this low here, then we can play the short back into Monday's high, taking out this liquidity here, playing it lower. From there, we'll see what happens. Do we step back and hold above it? Do we do something like this? Step down, hold above it, bullish market structure, then we play back into this base over here and looking to squeeze into October's high, October's low, or do we actually finally decide to do something like this? Break down, play within Monday's range, 25% and then mid range. That's pretty much it. That's as simple as I can make it as well there in terms of potential trades there. Looking at this now, you see this particular area here. This is where we're finding trouble right here. So it does make sense for me to start setting up a short, in my opinion. The high happened at 4:30, and then this high happened at 9 o'clock. I think the high of London's in. I think the high of the, well, not the high of the day, but I think the high is in my opinion. Remember when we wicked into the mid range? I think that was BTC, but if we look at it as from an Ethereum point of view, that's the high. This is a low. Yeah, we wicked into the mid range. So if we were to reclaim the mid range, this high, yeah, this is the mid range, then I'll be looking to play as target one. We're looking to squeeze into October's high. Well, yeah, really October's high. Once we come up there, that'll be the next set of targets there. Reclaim this high, keep fucking playing on the upside. At the same time, like I said, the bullish plan, which is what I would wanted, is this area here to reclaim and hold, get back up and go up higher. Right? Any questions? Do you see inverse head and shoulders on BTC and Ethereum, or is it just me? On the 4 hour, let's have a look, Gus. Good point. 4 hours, let's delete everything else. Inverse head and shoulders. I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to see this, right? right here. That's the. Let me just change the color. Red. So that's the left shoulders, the head, the right shoulders. I can see what you're seeing, and I'm not gonna disagree with you. I think if I were to do something like this, you see, that's the thing is the fact that it's like that. I can't really have a very clean trend line. Even if I were to pick out this, I don't have it to encapsulate. Because otherwise, if I encapsulate this, I'm only encapsulating this high here and this high there, which is just trying to fit a bias, and I don't like that. The fact that I can't really have a real trend line. I mean, apart from this, that's the only way I can see. So if it like we've got this key area here, this low here is acting as resistance. That's what we can see. So if I want to take this, right, could it be a head and shoulders and whatnot? Very possibly. I'm not saying it can't be, but once we get back above this, which is also the mid-range, this area here is the mid-range between last week's high to last week's low, wherever the fuck it was. I think that was it, yeah, and that was a deviation of the last week's of 2 weeks ago's low. And then once we get up there, then I can say, yeah, play it up to take out these highs over there, and that'll be target one. Well, that's the target there. It's a range bound environment. Do we range bound here? If we break up, let's go up for these highs there, and then we see what happens level to level. So just playing it quite cautiously. It is the first day of the week. Do short term trades. Nothing too extravagant in my opinion. Don't start looking for. If you're gonna be mega bearish, you're bearish itself, but don't be too mega bearish. Just take your profits as you go along. Now not Doge, fucking BNB, the bastard, finally actually rolled over, man. I mean, for those who knows, right, I've been trying to trade BNB twice, and both times on a short I got stopped out. I had my legitimate reasoning behind the trade, and it is what it is. So the trade yesterday, I actually chased it. I didn't call like an early aggressive play. I chased the play. I'll show it to you in just a second. So this is where my entry was. It was at $307. I had a friend of mine who actually got in at $312. Someone like, not a friend, but like someone on Twitter was showing me $312. I'm like, that's fair play. You know what is like from a PA point of view, it does make absolute sense. From a technical point of view, where I'm looking at it's the weekly close coming on and whatnot. That's why I wasn't too keen on taking any shorts or longs at all. Like we just gotta play this level like at each level. At the weekly close and the weekends, I tend not to trade so much, apart from day trades and little scalps. Really scalps, to be honest, nothing else, because there's no reason to take any day trades, because as we've seen, you know, price is very sideways during these moments. So I was watching this over the weekend. I'm like, this bastard, right, taking the piss out of me, you know. I feel like CZ just laughing at his ass off every time I fucking, you know, take the trade. But this time I'm having the fucking last laugh now. Hopefully, it's not over yet, but it's now coming into a key area. So what we got here, right, is this. Over the weekend, this is the high, and this is the low. This is the range band environment, right? And price over the weekend was just range banding here, making lower lows, lower highs, right? Making lower highs, and I was like, when it came to around here, right, around 314 ish, I was like, this is a short with a stop loss here, but I can play it back to range low, at least a very minimum, right? But at the same time, right, would I take this trade on the weekend? I'm like, nah, fuck that, right? So I decided to just watch it, right? So what happened is I got in at, yeah, you can see where I got in right here. So what happened is this. See when we got low, right? See this low here. We got a smash below the thingy, below this range low here, which means any retest would be an idea to take a short. I mean, they could put a stop loss here. I kept it very wide over here. Normally, this is where my stop loss would have been. Normally, that's where my normal stop loss is. Being traumatized with BNB on the shorts in it, I kept the stop loss a little bit more wider. I'm like, just in case if it fucks me up, right? If I need to have time to cut it, I've got to cut it. But we're still in the trade itself. Where we're coming out is this. Is this now, right? Let me just delete that. And just bring this up. So what we got here, this is the weekly range high. We are below the weekly range high, and at the same time, this is another range bound environment. From that high here to this low here, which means you can see where it's capped. We're getting capped. That's the deviation. We got capped at that low. This is not able to break down. We're coming back down, no problem. If it comes back down and does this range bound environment, whatever, I'm happy to keep the trade there. If we hold above it and break above it, then I'm looking to cut the trade. Fuck it, I'm not taking a loss. I could bring my stop loss to break even to be safe. Fuck that. Let me do that now. Yeah, let me bring my stop loss to break even. Because you know what is, like, after taking 2 losses on BNB, right? And I recovered it through the a short on Ethereum on Friday, right? But that's not good though. Give me a second. Let me just put my stop loss to break even. So I'm telling you this live while I do it. Razone's in the house, man. What's going on, brother? Okay, stop loss to break even. Let's see what everyone's saying. So we got huge analysis on ETH. We are still not inside the last week's Monday's range. No, we're not. ETH, we're not. We're trading above Monday's range. BTC is below. So if it's a bear market, if BTC is below, ETH's lagging. Think about it. ETH is lagging to actually play because generally they tend to move together, right? In a bear market, Ethereum drops the hardest. In a bull market, Ethereum pushes the hardest, pushes the highest, the hardest. We have more gains from Ethereum than Bitcoin. So why I would recommend in the bull market, you'd rather play you play alts, because on the ERC network and whatnot, because those are the ones that push the hardest. But the fact is taking a little tease. I don't know, man. It's just I'm not gonna try and fall for that, but we'll see what happens though. Thank you, Din. Appreciate that, man. You're gonna listen to me after your meeting. I really appreciate that, man. Stock was down 2% during London Open. Might drop more in the session. Probably, yeah. In the New York as well. Skinface made 4-hour trade of shorting Sol during the Asian session. So fucking hell, well played, Skinface. Played it well, level to level. After marking at key levels for the week, Pirate Captain, Daink, your techniques are the best. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that, brother. One Biggie said preparing for both scenarios, 100%. You always have to prepare for both scenarios. When you're day trading, you gotta have to play both scenarios, be anticipating when you gotta cut the trade. That's the problem. Most people who think they can trade right is this right? That you can trade, no problem. Anyone can buy, anyone can short. But can you flip the bias? Can you say, yeah, I'm long, and then one moment it's like, oh, it's not going, it's breaking down. I'm short. Can you do that? That's the difficulty that most people have, because if you could have done that, I'm going to answer that for you. If you could have done that, we wouldn't be at a huge loss on our portfolio, right? Because we would have taken profits. The fact that we didn't take profits shows us that we didn't have the right insight to flip bias. We're only flipping biases later on. But never mind. This is crypto. This is trading. It's all working. It's all part of life, and this is how you learn. So work it level to level. Okay. You guys hear a bit of static, or is it just me? Yeah, it's probably the fucking static, man. Sorry about that, brother. Don't know what's going on there. Appreciate that, Mr. M. Good to have you here as well. One big win. Yeah, didn't you actually got like a 50%? I believe you showed me your P&L like 50% short that was as well, and you cut it and went to bed, something like that. Did you enter BNB on a 1 minute time? No, I entered on a freaking 5 minutes, I believe. Was it a 5 minutes? Let me show you. Yeah, I entered on the 5 minutes. That was it. So what happened was, let me show it to you. Let me break this down. So my entry was down here, push back up, and that's why I kept my stop loss there. Normally I'd keep my stop loss here, but never mind. I mean, it would have been a beautiful play to be here. It's a 6-hour trade, but sometimes you just got a 4.5R. If he hits target, you can't complain. You really can't complain. This one was a bit of a tricky one. I was watching this on the 5 minutes, right? I did a session on a weekly outlook session with the group list yesterday night. So this is a range bound environment right here, and that's the low. As you can see, what we have is a deviation. We have support, and then we have a clean smash below. I'm like, okay, cool. So I was watching this, how it was going there, but when I didn't see the smash here. I didn't watch this. Where I saw this was around here. So I'm like, okay, let's see what happens at this low here. And then price was actually holding out there. I'm like, well, if this is a breakout, well, we're gonna have a retest here. I'm happy to catch the trade over here where I entered with a hard stop here. I can actually bring my stop loss is now to break even anyway, but it is what it is. So I caught it on the 5 minutes, literally on the 5 minutes, and then like you can see, yeah, 5 minutes, not too bad. We come back up, and you can see this high here. Let me just hide this particular high. We have a bit of a deviation, right? Resistance, deviation, lower highs, breaks down, and then once we lose this area here, this low here on the 5 minute block, breaks down, retest, shanks down, loses flow, and I was like, yo, fucking happy days, man. So, Mindcap is asking a question. TradingView has still the discount of Cyber Monday. Is it worth to upgrade from base to pro? Yeah, me. Do you want my honest opinion? My honest opinion is this, right? I only bought pro last year. I bought pro last year around December time. I remember this really, really well. I bought pro. I got the thinking, the fucking the what you call it, the mega one. I'll show you. TradingView. Open a new tab. TradingView. View. Still Cyber Sunday. Oh yeah, so split offers. The one I got is the premium, right? I don't use all the premium shit. I'll be honest with you. I don't use all the premium shit. I mean, I'm gonna do an upgrade. I'm gonna go for the pro myself, me personally. The reason why, because I don't use all that stuff, all the like intense indicators and having all the charts up there. I don't use it personally myself. Prior to me buying premium, right? You can see extend and the rest is downgrade. I did literally buy the premium, and also back then it was $250. It was $250 I paid in crypto premium. It's fucking expensive, man. I mean, there was a discount for Christmas. It was a Christmas discount, some shit like that, and that's when I got it. Your account has 31 days left in the current year, so so it expires. I think it was a New Year, something along the lines when I bought it. It was around that time. There was a bit of a discount, and it was at $250. I'm surprised it's that fucking expensive in my opinion. But if you gotta pay for it, you gotta pay for it. But the only thing I use in terms of having this, really, I got premium too, but I don't really need it. I don't really like. For me, like I'm gonna downgrade to the pro. Me personally, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna downgrade to pro. The only thing I use in terms of actually the charts that's worth buying is the free that adding on like time frames. So if I want to add other time frames, I can do so. So which I've done the 3 months, the quarterly, and the well, let me hide my face. I can't see it. Yeah, the 3 months and the 12 months. That's all I fucking use, man, bro. Do you know how sad that is, bro? I paid like $250, right, just to use 3 months and 12 months. You're a dickhead to do that, in my opinion. I mean, in all honesty, it's literally just one of those ones. I mean, I've been using TradingView Pro for like 4 or 5 years, right? 5 years actually. I've been in the game for 5 years. I've been using it for 5 years, and I had the free version for 4 years out of the 5. It's only been 1 year that I've been using it. And what I do is what I used to do I can put you in a little secret. So like when Trader SE, I was in his group and stuff like that. So when Trader SE was actually like doing his charts, and he would run down the quarterly and the monthly, the quarterly and the yearly. At the very beginning, I used to focus on his lines, on his quarterly lines, and where he placed it. Then I learned, hang on a second, I can do it myself. It's just a bit more work, right? For example, on the monthly, if I want to do like a quarterly range or a yearly range, all I've got to do is look where the high of the year is and the low of the year. So this quarterly, for example, there's loads of charts there on the monthly. I look for, okay, this month here is April, and I know that's the second quarter. So in the second quarter, you got April, May, and June. So I'm looking for the high of April and the low of June. So what we got here, that's the high of this quarter. So it's not here and here. It's actually, that's the high of the quarter. That's the quarterly high. And then the quarterly low is right here, because that's the high of May, and June was above that low. So I know that's the quarterly low, and that's how I used to mark it. And I'll have a different color. And I'm like in green, for example, and that's how I actually know what the quarterly is. But that's me personally as well. 500 euros with Black Friday discount. Fucking hell, Bomb Biggie fam. Fuck that shit. That's expensive, man. That's really expensive. For bear market, it's really expensive. Thoughts on Floki? It comes down to what Ethereum does, though, to be honest. With Ethereum, look, Floki, right? Let's just bring it up. Floki coin. Let's have a look. Delete this. Coin market cap. It's pushing up, right? To me, it's not that impressive just yet. It's still a range-bound environment here. You can clearly see that this is the range-bound environment from this low here and that high here. That's where we're capped at. So you can accumulate. That's one thing. I'm not recommending anyone to accumulate anything. I do think if the market is about to drop, right, I think prices can come back down lower, and then we'll see how it runs out towards start buying some in the New Year's. It's not New Year's. In preparation for the bull market, if you're bullish on Floki as well, and then like this, something like this price action here, reclaim this level here. That'll be like your confirmation of player, run out all these up here, come into this area there. I mean, like target one, I'd say this area here, which comes into about 00011, and then target two, I'd say here. That's an SR base, and then it'll be target three here before we even go for all-time high, right? So something like that, something along the lines. These are the targets that I'll be looking to play. Just looking at at just the basics of it as well. But in terms of buying anything, in all honesty, I'm gonna have to see in terms of like if we have a mini alt run, it's very possible. I don't know just yet, but I'll have to see how the monthly close and what happens coming into next week and what the EBTC says. The moment it's not looking too great. I mean, the market cap on Floki has dropped to 85 million. Is it worth a buy? No. I mean, look, if you're accumulating for a long term with anticipation of it going to all-time high, then that's entirely up to you. But if I'm anticipating a drop in the market, why? Because we've got the Fed pivot coming up, stock's going to collapse, and that will actually lead to Bitcoin dropping off. Will it go to 12K? I don't know. It's a very possibility. I told the guys about DCA. They know what my opinion on DCA is. You can start DCAing it now, but I wouldn't say. Look, I'll give you the same advice I told everyone in the group yesterday and the day before. I told them on Saturday and Sunday, same thing. So looking at BTC, let me just bring this up. All right. You could start the DCA here because like look, you can. I'm not saying I am. I'm not me personally. I'm just, it's entirely up to you guys, right? You guys can actually handle it, but like in your own way. We've dropped 76%, so it's a very fast ass drop there that we've dropped in 26%. Now for me, right, if you were to DCA, what I would say is start to DCA maybe 10 or 20% of your portfolio to keep it to the side. Now if I want to actually be bullish, right, like where would I be happy to play this, right? If it comes into this range over here, we've got July's range, we've discussed this many times, right? I'm quite happy to spot buy from here once we hold into this, spot buy this. Yeah, you might be saying, but dang, you missed that from 16K to 20K. It's a 4K drop, but I'm increasing my probability. When we do something like that, then that'll be a deviation of July's range, and then I can play it back up to the range high. From the range high, see how it goes. If we start breaking down, sell my spots. And then play it back down to the range low with shorts anyway. The absolute confirmation is once we get back into this, then we can play up, right? That's another confirmation on the upside. Now, where I say that this is going to be your last moment actually DCA is that we've got a range bound environment up here. Oops. This. Yeah. So something like this would be another opportunity to take a trade up into these areas here. Now this is a macro range. It's the first quarter of 2021, right? So that's 2021's low and 2021's high, right? And that's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. It's this one here. Right over here, there. So whether you miss all this, right, price comes into here and whatever does this, I don't fucking know, right? But once price in coming into 2024, right, we do something like this, this is your final opportunity to actually enter in to play back to mid-range to range high. That's my opinion as well. And then what that means is this is a deviation of that macro range, and once we do that, then it's game on, my friend. So we'll see how it goes. There's time to enter in my opinion. In terms of DCAing myself personally, I'm not gonna be DCAing at 16K. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be very honest about that. I do think that price comes into this particular area here, this block right here, and then that's when I'll be happy to start DCAing here. If it comes back down here, I have a little bit. I'm not gonna go in all 100% in this area. I'll go around 70-80%. Keep about 30-20% of capital just in case we come back down, and I can actually happily DCA here. And then once we get back up and hold above it, fucking game on. And then we start making profits on the way up there. We'll be spot buys, and then we start longing and shorting and leverage plays. There's a lot of plays there, but we gotta be a bit patient. Circuit saying they did an AMA with Binance, so it has been pushing now a bit. Not patient enough to hold long term. Yeah, long term plays. It's hard to play. I mean, I'm not much of a long term type of guy. That's not me. I don't really like that so much. I mean, I'm holding this Ethereum short for a very long fucking time. I don't know how I'm doing it, but I just want to make that ours, innit? But yeah, man. Dan, can you look at Telcoin? Casper, isn't Casper fucking thingy? Fucking Mooncal's coin. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. Like you've got if Ethereum is going down, right? So I'll just quickly just have a look at tell times now. Now in 10 minutes. Alright, we'll call it a day in a bit. The monthly, it looks alright. I mean, this is the range band, right? This is June's range itself. Let me just draw this out. June's range is here. Purple. On the week, on the daily. We pushed up, yeah. I mean, the thing is where we're getting capped at though is this. See this high over here? That's where we're getting capped at. So for me to be bullish, right, is to get back up and hold above it. Bullish market structure, and then we play back up on the upside. We're claiming this high is here, but this could all just be a stop run of November's high. Well, that's November's high actually. This is November's high now. A stop run of the highs over here. And if we step back into this, right, then you gotta be prepared to play back into 25, then to the mid range, into this area of consolidation there. And then we see what happens if we hold above it and shoot back up or break down. That's really it. Actually, it's a very dead ass motherfucking coin. You know, if you ask me, very dead. Because if you remember in 2020, from 2019 all to 2021, right before the bull run, it was a dead ass coin. It was only afterwards it started running out of nowhere, and it fucking did something ridiculous numbers, man. Fucking hell. Jesus, what the fuck me. All right, let's have a look at that. Short from here, from like let's say 2020, like January, right, to here, the highs. God damn, 382x. That's stupid. That is. The fact that he does such a rally like that, a 382x, that's not natural though. And then to drop back down into here, you can welcome back into the area consolidation. Let me just draw this out. It's on the weekly. It could well, once we like look to me, if we're to be bullish is all fine. We're taking out what we've done last week is that's it. We've taken out the this weekly high. Price was stuck between this high here. Oops. Let me just bring it up here. Focus on this area. What we've done, see this high here? That's the high, and that was the low. So we are stuck within this range. All we've done is taken out the range high over here. This is actually a short to me. This is actually a fucking short to me. Ooh. Sorry, bro. I know you were looking at thinking like looking for a potential bullish play, but this is actually looking like a nice little short for me. How would I enter this? Let's have a look. So that's getting capped right here on 50 minutes. This has been capped there. Then we've got this area consolidation right over here. This is where price is at the moment. I'm quite happy to let it do its thing. Won't take a short just yet. Once we get back below here, do something like that. I'm happy to take the shorts down. 25 and then range. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that. That's the way for me. Actually, I'd be quite happy to take the shorts because we are still within this range here. Delete that. Still within this range there. We can still reclaim and hold above it and go up higher. That's a possibility. I won't say no to that. We'll see what happens. Casper, look at Casper, and I'm gonna head out. To get to go pro, it's worth it. Premium, I wouldn't really do it, man. Honestly, me personally, I'm not buying. Like, just because you got money doesn't mean you gotta blow it, right? Let's look at Mixie. Fuck! What the fuck happened? That's not right. Coin X? No. Is this a new coin, bro? It's difficult to actually chart this one. Is it a new coin? Is it? We can see what's happening here on the daily. It's getting capped over here. It's on the 4 hours. Yeah. Looks like a short to me. Fing Casper. Looks like a short to me. Reason being is that you see this is on the 1 hour. Right? So what we got here is we got an area consolidation right here. Price consolidate on resistance, consolidates over here, breaks down, comes back up, resistance comes back up, lower high, we spike back up when we break down, and you see the bounce over here. See this particular low here? That's what we're trading under. So we got 4 minutes. If we close below here, right, And then I think what we'll do is break down and send it back lower. I think that's what's going to happen. It's a range band environment over here from these lows, from this low. Come on, from this low here. That's the range band environment that we've got here, and that turns out to be around the mid range. Play it back down to range low. Once we come into here and we lose this range low, fucking short the market back down. Short the market back down to where, man? Fucking hell, this is nasty. This is finding support here at the moment. That's what it's doing. This high here, that's what it's finding support. Once we lose this low here, that's your absolute confirmation. If you're in this, get the fuck out. In my opinion, over here, that's your confirmation, and we're gonna get you hardly, in my opinion. Right. I'm going to call it a day. I know a lot of people is actually showing me like asking for alts and stuff like that. What we could do is we may be able to actually squeeze in like a day where I'll just run some alts and stuff like that, look at the shorts and longs and whatnot. But yeah, we've done this for like an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to head off. It is nearly 12 o'clock in the UK. I'm going to get prepared for the New York session and trade as according to plans. BNB shorts are still in play. We're pushing back up a little bit. Nothing to worry about. Ethereum is just doing its thing. We'll see what New York has to happen. If we spike up and Ethereum breaks down, I'm happy to take the shorts back down to range low. That's what I've got plans. Okay, so I'm gonna call it a day. Smash likes, everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you, Morningstar. Thank you, Bomb Biggie, Shab, Madcap Pat, Circuit. We got Zim. Yeah, we got Zim. We got Mario. We got a bunch of motherfuckers here, Gandalf and all that. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully I see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. See ya.